Hello there and welcome to the very first episode of the Zero Credentials F1 podcast with myself, Adam Carnach, and I'll let my mate introduce himself.
Wow, that was really excitable. My name's Nelly, and people will know no more about me because I'm a professional beast. And if this shit goes sideways, then I don't want anybody to associate with my professional career.
The pseudonym of Nelly is working for you already. We're going to get on to some predictions for the Miami Grand Prix, which is happening this weekend. But I thought we would kick it off with a question. I want to kick it off with a question for you.
Go on.
That being, are you ready?
Go for it. I'm excited.
Is Miami the stupidest Grand Prix on the F1 calendar?
Oh, man. It's style over substance in many ways. I looked at last year's race, and actually it was really exciting. There was safety cars. It was Lando's first win.
That was his first win, was it?
That was his first win, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He'd had 15 podiums before that, but that was his first win. But what I did notice in the playback was there's a lot of sand on the track. And that was causing people a lot of problems. I mean, in the first corner from the start, there was Checo booling in at full pace and nearly took the arse end out of Max in the first corner. It was absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And there was safety cars and there's some good sort of actions.
I think
and aggro together.
Sainz jumped in on the radio as well, saying like he should get a penalty for that. Absolutely Hail Mary into the first corner.
It was. He nearly took out his own team. Maybe he knew he was not lasting beyond that season at that point. But it was hilarious to watch. But I think there'll be action. I think it's a bit of a Hollywood race. I think it was made by the promoters and everything else, and that's absolutely fine. But
I mean, already this weekend I've seen them making a massive deal of the movie and the sponsors of the movie.
Yeah,
it's like It's very American, isn't it?
Leaves a bit of a sour taste in the mouth, but actually, looking back on it, the racing was better than I remembered, actually. And it's there'll be some entertainment. In many ways, the season might start here because it's been, I think we've said before, a bit processional up to this stage. But there are overtakes aplenty and prospect of a safety car, and that whets the appetite quite a lot.
I think I've said to you before, when I'm in the sim, i.e. playing F1 on PlayStation.
Big time.
Miami is probably one of my most hated races of the year.
I don't think the drivers like it.
It bears out in real life a little bit because you're right about the sort of surface level stuff because you've got the marina, the fake marina, which is just ridiculous.
That was horrible.
You've got there's like a fake kind of beach as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
With a couple of waist-high swimming pools.
Yeah.
The use of the stadium as well. That like it's so weird because they're on a track and then they get carted back. Then the press are in the stadium and there's some filming going on there, and it's just like I don't really understand what's going on.
It all feels a bit spring break meets Formula One. It's like. Everyone's sharing beads and going topless and stuff, and you think, well, there's a bit of racing going on the side as well. But some
that is true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know whether the drivers like it or not.
It kind of feels like it's a bit like a badly copied version of Albert Park in Australia.
Yes,
like there's some really like sort of similar corners, isn't there?
Like it's got like super long straight that ends in a sharp right-hand turn.
Yeah, into the last court, into turn 17 at the end. But the section from like turn 8 down into the DRS zone, down to like turn 13 is a lot like Albert Park.
Yeah.
But like, and that actually, having said it was suggesting that it may be a stupid race. You're right about last year. One thing that I enjoyed about last year was like there was some good overtakes, particularly from Lewis.
Yeah.
Like he had a good he had a good battle with Hülkenberg, didn't he? Where he
got him a couple of times, and they were back and forth, weren't they? So yeah.
But then he did like Yuki, didn't he? Around the outside of like turn 12, I think it is, like going into that like really tight bit before the straight.
I think some racecraft will come out. It's a track that allows for a bit of racecraft, and it won't let you go to sleep. But it feels designed more for the crowd participation than the viewer at home.
Yeah, I mean the safety car did create some. I'm so hot. It's so hot.
It's unseasonably warm in the UK.
Oh, yeah, it is. And with the like video lights and stuff, it's so hot. But yeah, the safety car did introduce a bit of excitement, didn't it?
There's jeopardy, and that's worth an afternoon of watching or an evening of watching in this instance.
Then I can't remember which race it was after that, but like Red Bull were like, "Oh, we've got you back for the look of the the look of the safety car in Miami." What comes around goes around, I think. Red Bull said.
Yeah, well, these things. I mean, it feels harsh, but at the end of the year, it's one of those things that does generally even itself out. If you get a bit of good luck, you get a bit of bad luck, and we've discussed this before, and it's an important point to raise, but. There's something feels completely distortive when a safety car can change the grid lineup in such a way based purely on luck, a roll of the dice. There's no skill involved, and
that sounds like you're talking about 2021.
Well, we going there so soon? Wow.
No, let's not. Let's say that.
Yeah. Plenty of opportunity for that, but. Yeah, it just feels a little bit unsatisfactory that luck plays such a role in it. You want talent, and you want the engineering and the machinery to do their job first, and then the winner will rise to the top from that. But I mean, I don't mind the odd blowout or a bit of a crash. I like jeopardy. I like danger. I don't want anyone to get hurt, but it's very hard for them to get hurt these days in the equipment that they've got. But,
don't jinx it.
Oh no, that's it now. That's it. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
So I think it should be. I'm hopeful for a good race. I think we've got the sprint race as well, haven't we? But I wanted to, before we talk about predictions and what we think is going to be happening over the course of the weekend, I wanted to just cover a few stories that have come out in the last, I don't know, couple of days, 24 hours, I suppose, or since the last race. But the number one being that Max, well, probably right around now, is not going to be doing, Max Verstappen is not going to be doing press duties because Kelly Piquet, his girlfriend, has gone into labour, apparently.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm reading. So he's said that he's not going to be doing the press stuff today, it's Thursday, isn't it, right now? Which is press day. But he is going to do the race. So what do you think about that?
That's a bit unsatisfactory. I mean, the racers all hate doing the press and the junkets, and especially after quali and things when they've just been kicked out in the P16 and they've had an absolute stinker. The last thing they want to do is go to the press pit and actually explain themselves when the answer is often, yeah, I fucked up, or I haven't had a good weekend, nothing's going right for me. It's the last thing they want to do, but it's part of the job. They're extremely well rewarded.
Even if your girlfriend's in labour?
Yeah, but he's picking and choosing, isn't he? Yeah, he's picking and choosing. What's he going to do?
That's super harsh.
What's he going to do in the race and the sprint? Pull over if he gets a message from the pit wall. Max, she's crowning. Right, I'll be in a minute. Give us a chance. It's not happening. It's not happening. He's not going to give up world championship points even for his firstborn. But
that is, that probably is true, isn't it? One thing I was wondering is, like, do you think it's going to slow him down or affect him mentally? Because I know when I had kids, like, it changes you instantly. And you kind of become almost like a little bit more fearful. You've got people depending on you.
Well, you've got your mortality.
Because I think I always suspect that slowed Vettel down Sebastian Vettel down a little bit because he had kids.
Maybe.
I mean, a few of them do though, don't they? I think Hülkenberg does and stuff, and Magnussen did, and it's not that it can't be done.
No, it's a mix between age and I'm sure that's a factor. As soon as you've got responsibilities and you're much more conscious of your mortality because you've got to put food on the table or you want to spend time with your offspring, that's got to be true, partly. Age will come into it as well, but I think at first he will crack on and be the same old Max and banzai absolutely everything.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And having a few near misses or crashes that with high G-forces and stuff, I'm sure that his lovely lady will give him a slap round the chops and say, "You want to be packing that in, kidder?" Yeah.
I think you're probably right, but there's part of me that thinks he's going to go full Michael Schumacher and just it'll make no difference whatsoever.
Death or glory. Death or glory.
No, I mean, I don't. Did Schumacher? I don't think Schumacher particularly drove like that, did he? But he was probably more aggressive than Max.
Yeah.
But
he had a couple of instances, but yeah, it's. I don't know. I think patience comes into it a little bit with age. You know that you don't have to take this opportunity, this lap. You can take your time, get everything charged up, set it up, and then give it get your tyres in a nice window, then just get it to the point where you're going to go. But it's the petulance of youth, isn't it, with Max? And he's still a young fella. I mean, he's hot-headed, but he's brilliant.
I think that'll be quite an interesting one to see, really. Second story. I mean, it's obviously since the last race, but is Oscar Piastri at the top of the championship? I just thought I'd get your take on Oscar. What do you think of him?
I've been thinking about Oscar a lot, not like that, and he's. I think it would be unfair to call him a dark horse of the season because he's in such good equipment, but everyone's looking at Max and Lando and sort of forgetting that this kid can drive. He can really, really drive, and he's proven that over the past few races, where he's handled the car arguably better than Lando in the same circumstances, and he's prepared his vehicle arguably a little bit better for the race. So I think fair play to the guy. He's driven spectacularly. He will always be there or thereabouts, and I think he's quite calmly sat there waiting for Lando and/or Max to have a couple of ding dongs throughout the season, wipe each other out, and he could quite happily just trot along and get across the winning line. I think Lando really needs to take Oscar very, very seriously. I'm sure he does, but I think even the pro pundits think that it's all about Lando and Max this year.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think he's just got that killer instinct. I think Lando, his pace is as good as anyone. I think it's as good as it's world champion pace that Lando has. But I've had I love Lando, but I've had a few niggling sort of feelings about him over the last sort of 18 months where it feels like he's kind of lacking that killer instinct. It's been said a lot that he's almost too nice. Yeah. He's not he makes mistakes at the critical moment. And we know from the past, world champions don't do that, do they? If you think about all Lewis's championships, he never made a mistake. For about 7 years in a row. Max doesn't make mistakes really, does he?
I think Lando is very conscious that he's living the dream that everybody wants to live, and he's made it to the top. Yeah. What he doesn't do, which I think the rest of the world champions do, and the rest of the really push and driven drivers, is I don't really see him kick himself if he has a mistake. I'm often left disappointed. I know what you're saying. Over the past few years, there's been instances where it's almost self-inflicted, but he seems to shrug his shoulders and go, well, we'll have a go next time. Where you'll see a Max and a Lewis and a whoever else go into a really dark place and be really depressed about it and stew it over and torture themselves about it, even for a few hours in the first couple of races. In the first couple of sessions of the Grand Prix. But they know I'm not saying Lando doesn't think it matters enough, but he needs to take it a little bit more seriously, I think.
Yeah, whereas Oscar is just like, he's so calm, isn't he? Like his
temperament is phenomenal.
I think I said to you and White's on the text the other week that he's just that kind of typical Australian sportsman, isn't he? Like where they're just good all the time, and they have that kind of laid back Australian attitude, but are just brilliant at the same time. Like you sort of Shane Warnes of the world. Do you know what I mean? Where you're like, you're loving life.
Effortlessly brilliant.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, absolutely. And his wheel-to-wheel racing is like been brilliant as well, hasn't he? Like,
his racecraft's coming along massively, and he's not ostentatious. He's not overly aggressive, but he's a good, solid driver, and he'll grind out those results. And when he does get to the front, he can canter away. He can run away off into the distance and have nobody else trouble him. But that mindset, there's almost a bit of, I don't know, not quite the personal traits, but a Kimi Räikkönen of just being ice cold and it is what it is. I'm good. I'm an excellent racer.
Is it 3 in a row now? Is it 3 in a row he's done now? I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we might come back to him when we make our predictions. But the other thing, Lewis Hamilton, do you think he's gonna do anything this weekend? It's been a little bit of a struggle since he won the sprint race in China.
It's whether the Ferraris can deal with this. It seems like is this a high or a low downforce circuit? I want to say low.
It might be a bit of a mixture because straights and tight wiggly bits, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a compromise here. I think the Ferrari's got
probably just a bit of a balance.
Yeah, it's got 1 lap pace, but what the Ferrari does have is it seems to really like tyres, and it seems to turn them on pretty sweetly, and it comes alive towards the final third of the race.
The Ferraris went well round there last year, didn't they? So I don't see why that would be too different. The other thing about Ferrari I wanted to mention was the livery and the overalls that they're wearing this weekend. Have you seen them?
No, is it that blue colour?
Oh my God. I'll put it up on the screen.
Oh man.
It's absolutely disgusting. So you've got the front of the car, Ferrari red, and then the back end of the car is basically, looks a bit like an Alpine, but in Hewlett-Packard HP colours. And it's just disgusting. I don't really like it. It makes me hate HP. It makes me not want to buy a Hewlett-Packard monitor or whatever computer or whatever it is they make, because they're like sullying that scarlet red.
it can blow back something crazy as well, can't it? As well, they spend millions on this sort of marketing, and it can just make people absolutely despise them. I mean, I'm sure the track will be absolutely covered. Is it like that baby blue colour, any of it as well? Because they had the wheel covers last year. With
if the images I've seen of their overalls are true, they look like a couple of rent boys or something. like
Chelsea blue, Chelsea rent boys.
It's like white though, like white and blue. It's just absolutely disgusting.
Well, this is other parts of it as well. I mean, what is more iconic than the red and yellow of Ferrari? It doesn't need enhancement. It doesn't need to be tinkered with. Leave it as it is. You'll get your market and you'll get your nut. You don't need to change the colour scheme.
We probably don't want to be too harsh though, because this is our very first show, and we're not sure what our price is for sponsorship. Everyone's got their price.
It's not a fucking Hewlett-Packard anyway. But I mean, fascinating actually. I wonder if the Americans and things, and they'll try and put Bud Light everywhere as well to try and remasculinize Bud Light in the market. I bet that'll be all over the edge of the race course as well.
Yeah, that's funny. There's a lot of marketing in there. Right, should we crack on with some predictions? And let's go first with as it's sprint weekend. I'm not bothered about sprint qualifying. Let's just go straight in with the sprint race winner.
Yeah.
Who've you got? Just the winner. We won't go any further than that.
Yeah. I've got a sneaky feeling about George this weekend. I think he's been doing a few things. The Merc's been looking very, very stable. And I'd like to think he could pull out a bit of a surprise here.
Nice, George Russell. I'm going for... I think George is a good shout, actually, for that. I'm going to go for Lando in the sprint.
He's got that one-lap pace. He'll get in and he can keep tyres nice and juicy for as long as possible.
As long as he can get into that first corner. I think, like I said, I think he's got world champion pace. If he can make that work, I think he'll win. So then let's move on to... I think what we'll do, we'll keep a tally of this, like any good sports prediction game.
I thought we were getting ranked. So are we putting money on this? Is this going to be?
I mean, we can talk about that. But we'll keep a tally of it over the weeks. Yeah. So next year, let's go for pole position for the main race. Who have you got there?
I actually think Oscar for the main race.
Okay, I'm gonna go again. I was tempted with George, but I'm going to go for Lando again. I think for pole position, just for that out-and-out pace.
For some reason, I think it'll be the first three positions on the grid will be, no doubt, 2 McLarens and a Red Bull for the main race. For the main race,
okay.
Because Max is just absolutely, he's dragging something out of that motor car.
Yeah, we're already writing Ferrari off, aren't we? For the weekend, it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
And then let's go with your top. Give me a top 5 for the race.
Oh, the full top 5.
Just your top 5.
The podium. Podium and 2 others. I think. I think if Piastri starts, I think Lando will do something. Safety cars will come in. I think you'll get Lando first, then Piastri second on the step. George third, and I think Leclerc will come in. I'm just hoping that something happens to Max. I'm giving away my prejudices there, but he could banzai it in the front corner, or his new teammate comes and takes the back end away from him. But I do think as well that I think it's time for Antonelli to actually do something as well. I think he'll be quite healthily in the top 10 this weekend. He's been making incremental gains, but I think he's ready to do something.
I've got Whites on the text as well with his top 5.
The white man
for the listeners and the viewers. Nelly and I have been friends since we were in school, and we have another friend who is in our F1 group on Signal. We are a part of a bigger group of friends, and all our mates hate F1. Apart from pretty much, don't they? Apart from the 3 of us, so we have a group, an F1 group, and he's going to be behind the scenes on this podcast, I think. But he sent me his top 5 early, so I'll just read what he said. His prediction is Lando first, Oscar Piastri second, Charles Leclerc third, George Russell fourth, and Max Verstappen. He said. Lando to keep it together and silence the critics. He said, it seems Red this is a good point actually. He said it seems Red Bull need 3 practice sessions to bring the car up to speed. And with it being a sprint race weekend, they've only got 1 practice session. So he sees them sort of finishing behind the rest of the big players. I think that's a pretty good shout, to be fair.
It is. That sounds reasonable.
My prediction, I think I'm putting Oscar at number 1 again.
Wow.
I'm going to say George, then Lando, then Charles, and then I think it's a toss-up between Lewis and Max, but I'm going to say Max.
Yeah. I would put Max over Lewis on this, even with the more stable equipment, I suppose, at Ferrari. But Lewis is still finding his way there. It's new equipment, it's new configurations. Yeah. He needs a few more races, a few more weeks.
And then let's go with, last thing, we'll go for a wild card. Give me some wild prediction or crazy thing that you think is going to happen.
Lance Stroll will qualify. You'll get to Q2. That's it. Lance Stroll will get to Q2. There you go. Have some of that.
Ahead of Alonso.
Nobody sees that coming.
Oh, bless him. All right, I like that. Because I'm a bit of a fanboy, I'm going to go with a wild card of a Lewis win. I think he loves it in America, doesn't he? He's going to get it together. He did some great overtakes last year, and he's going to do a replay of China.
I'd love to see it. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
But yeah, that is a wild card at this stage.
Yeah, I'm not putting my mortgage on the bookies on it, but yeah, I'd love to see it. It'd be great.
So that's that. I think, should we leave it there?
I've enjoyed that.
If people want to know more about us, they can keep watching, can't they? They can subscribe to this channel and get to know us a little bit better over the coming months and years, if it lasts that long. If we can keep our shit together.
It's just nice to be chatting to my mate about motorsport.
With a lot of other people coming along for the ride.
That'd be nice.
Hopefully. More than just our mothers.
Like and subscribe.
Indeed. Cool. See you soon. Bye.